Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be trying out the new foundation from Fenty Beauty. I've got mine in 260 and I've also got my tester in 220, I believe. So I have been wearing this foundation for probably about a week, a little over a week now. Every day trying to test it out to see the best way to put this on and see how long it lasts and all that good stuff. I did try the 220 at one point, and this one does run a little yellow on my skin, and so I decided that the 260 was a better skin match for me. It is a medium coverage foundation for sensitive, normal, dry, combination and oil skin, and it is a matte finish, and I'm telling you, it is definitely a matte finish. So if you have dry skin, you're definitely going to want to exfoliate before you put this on. If not, you're going to see all of the dry patches on your face. A soft matte long wearing foundation with a beautiful medium to full coverage, and it also comes in 40 different shades, and it's 100% cruelty free, which is awesome. So the color that I got, which is 260, this one is medium skin tone with neutral undertones, so that color seems to suit my skin a lot better. It is also $34 for 1.08 millimeters, so it's just slightly over the normal millimeters that you would get when you bought a regular foundation. So I've been noticing that a lot of the companies are coming out with a little bit more foundation, especially the higher end brands, the ones that you get from Sephora and Ulta, the ones that you're paying a little bit more for, because also the peach foundation is slightly over on. This one is 1.6 fluid ounces, so it has more than normal. I am wearing a not illuminizing, but a hydrating primer today, only because I do have like slight dry patches here, and this foundation will definitely emphasize that. But I'm also wearing a pore filler from Smashbox right here in the center of my face, just right here, which is the one that I always wear. And then I've already sprayed my face with the Smashbox primer water, and I'm going to go right in with the foundation. So this says to shake it up, so we're going to go ahead and shake it up first. And I'm going to go ahead and go in with the brush on one side and then a sponge on the other side, a damp sponge. I don't see too much of a difference with either, but we'll show you anyways. So I'm going to just be going in with the IT Cosmetics foundation brush today, and then I'm just going to be using a damp sponge on the other side. So when you squirt this, it's definitely a watery foundation, as you can see it. And people have been saying that it's oxidized. I don't think it oxidizes. I do think the dry down color is a slightly different than the other. So and I'm okay with that, because once it dries down, it actually matches perfectly to my skin tone. So I think that the 260 is the best color for me in the line right now. So here's the side with the brush, and then here's the side without. I think it looks really, really good. It fills in the pores really well, and it covers really well. You can see it just kind of slightly covers up the scarring that I have right there. So I'm going to go in with another pump on the other side, and we're going to go in with the blender. Alright, so here's the side with the blender. Here's the side with the brush. I feel like they're both really similar. I don't think that one looks better than the other, and I think that it's just going to be your preference of how you like to put on your foundation, because it's such a thin foundation but does good with the coverage. I feel like both sides do really well. This one may be slightly lighter, but not by much, so I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of my makeup on real quick so that we can see how everything else kind of blends on top of it. I think it does a really good job with other makeups, but I'll show you either way. It is 6:34 in the morning, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back to show you what everything else. Alright guys, so this is the way the finish came out. The foundation does really, really well with other makeups on top of it. I did set it with the Rimmel Stay Matte, and basically I just take my damp sponge, rub it in there, and then press the powder where I want it to stay matte for the day. So that's how I use this. And I used a regular blush, which is the one from Fiona Styles. I really like that, and I said in my last video that it wasn't available, but it is, and so I left a link on my last video for that. I did use the Too Faced Bomb Bomb palette on my eyes today. And I also used the Butter London Glazed eye gel in the color Frosting in the center of my eyes today. And then I used a lipstick from MAC, the Velvet Teddy. And I also used the Cabral today too. So this is a lot of stuff that I got in the 21 Days of Beauty. Let me know if you guys want me to do a full video on that, letting you know what I got from the 21 Days of Beauty. But anyways, back to the foundation. So everything goes on really, really smoothly. I did use a hydrating primer today because I found with this foundation, if you use a matte one for my skin, it's a little too much. So the hydrating one I feel like works better on my skin to help at least give it some hydration, because if not, this foundation will just suck the life out of my skin. Alright, I think it looks really good. I love the way this foundation sits on my face and what the color it gives to my face. I think that is a perfect match, the 260 that I got. I think it's a really good match for my skin tone. So I'm so excited that they have like 40 different colors in there. So I think that a lot of people are going to be able to find their exact skin tone, and I think that I did with this foundation, so I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and head to work. I will be back in about 4 to 6 hours to show you what it looks like at that point, and then I will come back at the end of the day to give you my final thoughts on it, since I've been wearing it for about a week or so. So alright guys, I'll talk to you guys. I'm on my lunch break. It is now I don't know if you can see that, 1:07 in the afternoon. I am getting a little oily, but I'm okay with the oils. Like I said this morning, I did use a moisturizing primer today just because I've used this Fenty foundation all week with a mattifying primer or a regular primer, and it's just too matte for my face, which is crazy because I do have oily skin, but I do like it a little bit better with hydrating primer. So I'm just gonna take a blotting sheet and just blot real quick in the areas where I do have a little bit of oils coming through, so I can show you what the foundation looks like after that. A little bit of it comes off. I can tell you that when I do just wear a regular primer and not a luminizing primer, I don't need a blot at all throughout the day. So that's something to be aware of. I just prefer it with a moisturizing primer. So as you can see, it's still on my face really, really good. Under my eyeglasses here, it has faded away just a tad, but nothing over the top like most foundations do. It's sitting in my pores really well at this point, and it's not fading away. So that's really good, even with the moisturizing primer. We are just, I believe, 6 hours in. We started at 6:30, 6.5 hours that we've had the foundation on. It's still doing really, really well, still covering, still allowing my blush and my contour and all that to come through, and it's creasing just a little bit here in the nose, but way more when I use the other kind of primer. So I would assume that if you picked up their primer for it, it would be super matte, super matte. I really, really hope that they come out with a hydrating foundation, because I would definitely pick it up if it lasts like this on the face. So like I said, we're just 6.5 hours in. I will go back to work and I will come back at the end of the day to show you what it looks like. I'm hoping that it stays put with this primer that I have on today, because it stays put all day long on my face with the other primers, so it just stays super matte. Like, it sucks the moisture out of my face. So we'll see what happens at the end of the day with this foundation, but I'll be back in a couple more hours to show you what it looks like at the end of the day, and then I'll give you some more thoughts on this foundation. Alright guys, I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Alright guys, so it is 5:45 in the evening. I just got back from the store to get stuff for dinner, and I'm doing my last check-in with the foundation. So as you can see, this foundation looks super nice, even with the foundation primer hydration from Laura Mercier. If you use the mattifying primer, it is super, super matte. Like, and if that's something that you want, you're gonna love this foundation with just a regular primer or a regular mattifying primer, because it will be super matte and it stays super matte all day. It does not fade away. It stays on your face just, I mean, the way you put it on in the morning and how it gets matte, it is like that at the end of the day. This foundation does stay on for a long time. This has been 11.5 hours that I've had this foundation on, and it's still doing really well. It hasn't broken up in any portions here in the middle of my face. I do have a little bit of oils coming through, which is something that I'm used to and something that I like. So I will continue to wear it with that hydrating primer. If you wear it with the mattifying primer, or if you wear it with a regular primer, it is super matte, and you won't have any of these oils coming through. Anyways, in my experience, I didn't have that. But I do feel like this just looks a little bit better. I like the way, the lasting power, and I love the color that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the difference. So the 260 here is what I just put right here, which is what I have on, and it's really close to my skin tone. It says it's for medium skin tones with natural undertones, which is what I think I have. And then the one that I got for the sample, now there's a 220. It's a lot lighter, but when I use that, it dried a little bit different. Now let me tell you what it says about 220. So 220, which is this one here, it says it's for medium skin with warm peach undertones. So that's where I was confused, because I wasn't sure if I did have the warm peach undertones, because sometimes my skin can be a little finicky when it comes to foundations, and I do run a tad bit peach, kind of yellowish sometimes, and so I was very confused about that. I'm gonna let these dry real quick so you can see the difference. So this is the one that I used today, and this is the one that I just swatched here. Now I'm gonna just put a little bit right next to it so you can see the difference in color before it dries. So top are the two colors of the same. So see how it's kind of a little bit lighter before it dries down? That's what people were talking about the dry down. That's the 260. The top one is the before it dries down, and then the second one is the dry down one. So it does get a little bit darker when it dries down, but I think that's just because it's not wet no more. And then here's the second one here. You can kind of see the difference there. So the top one is kind of the wetter one, but this is the one before it's dried down. That's the one I just watched. So that's the difference there. So it was a little confusing, like I said, when I was on the website, to kind of pick a color if you're not going in stores. I normally have to shop online, so because they have so many different foundation colors, I think it's great that they have a million foundation colors, just like MAC, and so does Smashbox. But I have a hard time picking out a color because of that. Where I was lucky to find a color that would match me really, really well just by guessing and, you know, kind of trying to figure it out. I think it's kind of hard to find that. So you may need to go in store if you have to really find the color that you want. But if you know your skin tone and you're familiar with, you know, what undertones you have, I think this is perfect for you to go online. I would go on the Fenty website because they have more of a description than Sephora does about the undertones and, you know, what to pick. So that's the best way to find your foundation. And then if you want to go, of course, to Sephora and pick out your color that way, then do it that way. But go to Fenty's website first. Pick out your undertone, your color, your number that you need, and then if you want to get your points and, you know, all the perks from Sephora, then go back to Sephora and order it there. But either way, I like this foundation. I think it does really well. When I wear it with other primers, it's way too matte for my skin, and I like a matte foundation, but it's just way too matte, and it does emphasize like the lines here and stuff. When I wear the other primer, which was the one that I had on today, it doesn't do that. So it's just kind of like how much of a matte foundation you want. I think it's a great foundation if you want a super, super matte, and you just gotta switch up your primers if you don't want that crazy matte. But I love the way it looks on my face. Other than that, it doesn't really crease in, you know, my nose area. For the most part, it stood on my nose for the most of the day. It's just a good foundation, and for $34 and getting a little bit over the normal of amount, I think it's a great one if you want to try it out. I would definitely go in store and swatch a few of them on you. What I would suggest is to swatch it, walk around, then go back to it. Go outside, because Sephora's lights are just insane. Go outside, see how well it matches your skin tone, and then purchase. But let it dry down first before you pick it up, just that way you can just get the proper color for you. So okay guys, that's my review. I do like this. I would recommend it if you like a really, really matte foundation. I hope you guys have a good afternoon. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Fenty Beauty line, and I shall talk to you guys either on Sunday or on Tuesday. Bye.